Hi, I'm John, and this is my van. The van is a 2015 Mercedes Sprinter. There was a bunch of people involved in this van project, so Ray Outfitted was the primary. They kind of guided me through the build process, and then I went to Andrew Fleming from Happy Camper Kits, and he helped me with the cabinetry. So going back and forth between those two kind of netted the results of this van. I'm a mobile, like IT, digital nomad type of worker. And so I designed this van to be like a mobile office. I needed to be able to cook and work and sleep occasionally. So I chose a platform bed after looking at a bunch of different design options online. And you know, there's a bunch of configurations that people typically use depending on what they need it for. I don't spend much time on the bed, so it just allows me to store stuff in the garage. So that was primary. The van is a 144-inch wheelbase van, so it's actually, the bed's not it's not long enough for me to sleep like widthwise and even lengthwise. So my feet actually hang off the side a little bit, but it's okay. I can sleep like diagonally, and if I really try hard, I can sleep widthwise. But right now you can see I'm just storing a bunch of stuff on the bed. Above the bed is this overhead storage area. It's also tied to the control panel, which connects to all the van's electronics and battery systems. The switches up here are the overhead and indirect lights. So if I press here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 puck lights, and they're on a dimmable switch, so you can dim them to set whatever mood you want. The other light is an LED strip light, and that's also on a dimmable switch, and that's just under the kitchen, overhead kitchen cabinets here. The switches up here are for the solar array. So my solar array is a tilting array. Since I'll be spending a lot of time in the north, if the sun is kind of like off, not up high in the sky and it's on the horizon, and I need to have, you know, like optimal solar conditions, then that allows me to kind of aim the solar panels at the sun. So it's pretty cool.
And how much watts do you have of solar panels?
I have 600 watts. The power system is basically, I have 400 amp hours of lithium batteries, and that's connected to a 3000 watts Victron inverter. If you had to like simplify what that means, is I could run 3 kettles at the same time before it kind of goes over the limit. Ray Outfitted suggested I install a kind of locking mechanism on the rack, and so that's what this switch is for. So right now it's in the unlock position, but then if you want to lock it, you just push this. You can hear it go right. So the battery monitor reads a bunch of things. You can see how much juice you have in your batteries, and also information on how much you're drawing at any one time. After I turned on my kettle, it started drawing roughly like a kilowatt of juice. The next one is a diesel, the diesel heater control. The diesel heater is stored in the garage right now, and it runs off 12 volt power, so it doesn't need to have the inverter on for it to operate. And it's programmable. When I have the vehicle parked and I want to activate the camera system, it's an integrated security camera system, I think mainly used for truckers. And I kind of did this system because I wanted that extra kind of peace of mind when I'm parked or I'm leaving the vehicle. I can park the vehicle, push this button, and it just turns on the camera system. 5 camera system that's recorded to a kind of DVR style hard drive. The sink and faucet is connected to a 20-gallon fresh water tank, and I also have a 3-gallon kind of hot water tank as well. And I just have a gray water system using you know, those blue water jugs. And so when it fills up, you just have to swap it out and empty it and swap it out. This water runs like that. This one's interesting. This one is because I like good coffee, I like good tea, and I want my water to be of pretty decent quality. So I have this water line plumbed to just the stuff you get at Home Depot, and it's the carbon water filters, and I could show you that a bit later, but pretty much it's extra purified, so it runs through that system. That's separate from this one. And then you got an induction cooktop, which is tied to the electrical system. So this van doesn't have any, like, I don't want to use propane, so I designed it to make sure that I had enough battery capacity to run electrical appliances. And then I got knives, lots of knives because I like knives. And an interesting feature here, they use it usually in shops to hang tools and stuff like that, but I decided to put it in the van. It's kind of like multi-purpose. You can use it for whatever you want. So I'm kind of using it for, like, this is a tea strainer. This is what I use to wash my face. It's called a towel. And this is a little guy I got from Japan when I was there watching sumo wrestling in Fukuoka. I don't know, I like to cook quite a bit, so these sauces are kind of Asian type of stuff. Some syrup, you know, spices and stuff like that. But it's all kind of spices and things like, oh, this one's interesting. Look at this. You gave me this one. This is crab apple jelly. That's a product of Forrest and Emily's land. The middle compartment is plates and cups and stuff like that, and a little bit of, you know, like hand soap and dish soap, some mouthwash, just because I didn't have any other spot to put it. And the third one is, wow, just a collection of teas and supplements and vitamins and stuff like that. In here I have coffee related coffee and some like dried goods and stuff like that. I haven't really like stocked every single nook and cranny of the van yet, but yeah, that's gonna take some time for that, I think. This one has pots and pans, and that's a manual espresso maker. This little switch here turn on and off the water pump, and that's in the back garage. And I have a switch here to turn on the hot water tank. So if I want to heat the water, then I'll switch this on, but I switch it off because that requires battery. So it's always smart to try to optimize your battery life by turning off what you don't need. So all this cabinetry was done on a really big industrial CNC machine, and so Andrew Fleming, he's kind of a designer, and his shop is really kind of focused around using that CNC machine. And so he has he mainly uses like Baltic birch and 3/4 inch plywood. So you imagine these big sheets of plywood, and then he works in AutoCAD and he comes up with whatever designs he needs to make this cabinetry. He cuts a honeycomb pattern out of the birch plywood to reduce weight. It looks nice too. I have all these push button latches on every single cabinet. And then this middle one is basically bigger utensils, tongs and stuff, scissors, and a lot of coffee related stuff because I like coffee. Sometimes I'm surprised what I have in here because I haven't actually like spent that much time, and I keep on shuffling around stuff. But in here I have like a rice maker, a blender, more coffee stuff, and yeah, these little things. These little things are good. Kind of like what are these called?
Bottles?
Yeah, bottles. To maximize the utility of the van, you have these pull-out drawers, or pull-out tables. So that pulls out like that. You got one there, and you also got. I also have one here. And what that does, it allows me to even have more countertop space per se. These seats too, they swivel because I don't have much space in the van. The swivel seats allow me to make use of the primary driver's seat and passenger seat. And this one here is the composting toilet. So door opens, it's on a slide, and then you pull it out and you do your business in this Nature's Head composting toilet. It's like pretty famous. I don't know what to say about it other than it kind of slowly decomposes poop and stuff like that. It's got a pee jug that you have to probably empty every 3 days or something. Yeah, if you use it consistently. It's vented through the van's floor on the bottom. You can see that tube here. It pulls air in from one side and goes through the kind of chamber, and then out. It's connected to a 12-volt fan, and that runs all the time. Yeah, this is the workstation. It's my most favorite feature of the van. It's kind of built to be like a stand-up desk. I have a monitor on a articulating wall-mounted arm. So the monitor is 27-inch wide. It's because it's on that arm, it can be kind of like oriented in whatever way I need it. But if I'm working normally, I'll have it like something like that. The computer is connected to some cables down here, and then I'll be working like that. Typically I'm just working on these two laptops, and so that's why I have this kind of laptop stand, because the stand-up desk position from this one, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to work on a laptop, because that extra space requires you to kind of hunch over it. But the laptop stand allows me to kind of put my laptops in any orientation I want and just move it around on the desk, which is pretty handy. If I get tired of standing, then I'll come over to the driver's side, and so I'll sit something like this. I'll bring one of those laptops over and I'll pull this out, and then I'll work like this and do something like that. I've been an office worker for so long that, you know, over time it just kind of like your spine starts to kind of curve like this gradually. So I kind of like forcing myself to stand and move around, and it's helped quite a bit. There's a big drawer here that opens all the way like that. And this is where I put all the electronics and stuff that I have. And here is where I have the fridge. That fridge opens from the inside. This is gonna be trick. A couple latches. Yeah, so it's got a compartment for the fridge, and then a compartment for the freezer stuff. And it's also kind of it's a smart appliance, so you can control like the temperature through your phone or on the fridge itself down here. So it's pretty good. And it also serves, because it's on a 300-pound drawer slide. You can actually sit on the fridge too. This one also has one more pull-out table. If I'm doing a lot of stuff on this table, I can just expand it out to this, which is nice. So the cubbies are pretty much for clothing and miscellaneous stuff. So my tech kind of like sometimes it just grows arms and tentacles, and it just migrates itself over here. So I have like some tech stuff up here, sheets and stuff, and some clothing that I typically cycle through over there in that cubby. There's a fan, a 12-volt fan attached to here, and it's a Sirocco fan, and it's kind of articulating as well, so you can change the orientation of it in any way, and then lock it in place, and then the fan itself can move around like this, and then it's got different speeds. And I think it's pretty important to circulate the air in such a small space, so yeah. The floor had kind of like the factory subfloor already there. We kind of used that. It's got 2-inch kind of rigid pink foam, the vinyl flooring, and we chose a material that actually had a little bit extra insulation on it. This wall here it's actually 1/4-inch revolution. They call it revolutionary ply. It's thin, so it can kind of be molded to the sides of the walls, because these Mercedes vans are not flat, like they're not box like, they're kind of curved. Behind the ply is kind of 2 layers of thinsulate, and the thinsulate is basically my primary insulation. And I have the lizard skin here, which is, you can see the black material on the van is spray on lizard skin. It's more of a kind of like a sound deadening slash it's more like protects your van from heat. Yeah, so it's a ceramic insulation with no insulation value, sound deadening, and then cooling, mostly cooling factor. This is like a bulkhead. It has storage. It has storage back here, so you can see it's got 3 compartments, and I store like, I don't know, stuff for cleaning yourself and yeah, soaps and stuff. We plumbed the hot water tank to this exterior RV shower kind of attachment. Pretty functional. Oh yeah, so if I want to have a shower, it's outdoors. You can't do it inside. You could, but you probably make a big mess. But that works pretty good. You want to have a shower? The lines are pressurized with cold water all the time with the pump. When I turn on the valve, it will dump all the cold water into the freshwater tank and prime the lines with hot water, which allows me to have a hot shower without wasting water. Let's imagine I have hot water in here, and I want to prime the lines with hot water. So, okay, oh, water's getting hot. Yeah, okay, time to get a shower. There you go. It should be pretty warm. Yeah, it's actually pretty warm right now. Not bad. Yeah, I'm gonna try this in like -20, -30 weather, so I'm not sure how that'll work out, but I'm sure it'll be fine. The power system, I guess it stems off the lithium batteries. So I have 4 100 amp hour batteries tied in parallel, a 3000 watt inverter, the solar charge controller here, breaker boxes for cutting off on and off power. Also have this 12 volt fuse block that goes into all the 12 volt appliances. I usually store my my Onewheel here, so I can charge it in the van while I'm moving, which is pretty good. You can see in the back there, you have a WeBoost kind of the WeBoost antenna. So that's tied into the antenna on the roof, and then inside it's where it kind of rebroadcasts that signal for increased cellular connection. Underneath the solar panels is a deck. So right now I can't access it because I don't have a ladder, but if I had a ladder, you can get up there and you can sit and enjoy whatever view. I purchased this because I knew I've always kind of been like interested in boarding sports, so a little bit of skateboarding, but mainly snowboarding. So this was kind of like a very natural progression. The technology has improved so much on these kind of battery powered transportation devices that I think I get like 20 or 30 kilometers off a charge, and it's rechargeable. So I basically the idea was wherever I went with the van, I could park it and then I could travel around with the Onewheel. Always wanted to try it out because I like traveling. I like taking my time, enjoying new spaces, learning about wherever I'm at. And I thought the van would be very conducive to that lifestyle. I was living and working in Iqaluit during COVID, during that initial kind of lockdown back in, what was it, February, March. It kind of made me realize that life is definitely pretty short, and that you should try to do like whatever it is you want to do. I did a bunch of research, into how to actually do that, and I found Ray Outfitted, and I decided to contact them just to see if I can get something moving while I was still living and working in Iqaluit. I can tell, like, so far already, it kind of puts you out of your comfort zone, and for me, I think for a lot of people that's pretty important, to try to challenge yourself. You can live any lifestyle you want, but living in a van definitely makes it a little bit more interesting, because you have to always be you're always on the go, and you always have to figure out what you need to do in order to survive. So that includes finding water, making sure your power systems are up and running. You have connectivity to the internet. Your toilet situation is good. Forces you to go out and buy fresh ingredients, and you can't overstock things because the space in a van is very limited. Every day so far that kind of lived in this van has been an interesting one, very unique experience. You know, you're traveling around to a new spot, you don't know where you are, you don't know where things are, so it's kind of like it's constantly changing, which is really interesting to me. I've traveled quite a bit, but I really want to learn more about the country that I live in, and so that's one of my main reasons for jumping in a van, is to also explore Canada. The van allows me to get out into kind of further out into parts unknown, away from civilization, and then just be comfortable, right? So I can literally go off grid for 3-4 days, and be fine. You know, it doesn't matter how cold it is, doesn't matter if I don't have any access to electricity or food. Everything can come with me in the van for that 3 to 4 days.
Why did you decide to build out a van instead of buying one that's already made?
I decided to build it from scratch with an upfitter because I want to understand exactly what went into building a van. The amount of options that are available to people are immense, and it's pretty important to know, I think, to know what you're doing when you're sourcing out power systems and solar systems and even water systems. The quality of the cabinetry, the materials you use. So I've always been interested in learning more about what's going on behind the scenes. So that's the main reason why I decided to start from scratch rather than just going out to buy something that was completely done. If I had gone down the pre-constructed van, it costs significantly more. You don't know exactly what components they use to make that van. It might look good on the outside, but when internally the guts might be cheap components, or it might not meet your requirements. Just the same as building a house for yourself. This is the exact same type of process. What do you need? What do you want? Yeah, so that's why I went down that route. It's more interesting too. The build process involves kind of really talking through a number of design requirements. It starts off with what are you gonna do in your van? What do you need it to do? So these high level functional requirements, and those requirements kind of form the basis of how your van is going to turn out.
If you were to build a van after this one, would you consider building it yourself now with your knowledge?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think the work is trivial by any means. It takes a lot of time, a lot of planning. But yeah, I think anybody who's a little bit decent with their hands can do it. Even if you're not decent, you can still get by. You can build something. It's not rocket science. It's just a lot of different steps that you have to take into account. But there are some there are some things that you want a professional to look at after you're done, like the electrical system, because you don't want your van to catch on fire because you wired something bad. So common sense has to kind of be factored into your thinking. I think there's always a way to change course if van life is not for you, but I think if anyone's who's interested in trying it out, they should try it. I think it's pretty cool. It opens up an immense amount of options that are kind of if you didn't try it, you would never know.
What are some of the challenges of van life?
The challenges are, you have to be a problem solver. So because living in this tiny space and always having to watch all your systems, make sure you have everything, it takes time and energy. So the challenge is kind of falling behind on those daily tasks, and then putting yourself in a precarious situation. Say you had some mechanical issues and you're out in the highway 300 kilometers from any town. That's a challenge, right? If you didn't prepare for that situation, then it could present a problem. Yeah, so I've learned a bunch of things through this van build journey, and everything that it encapsulates. So that's working with contractors, working with people, meeting people, listening to all sorts of advice, researching on what you want to do for the van. You learn that even the most kind of complex projects can be broken down into, little bite-sized pieces, and it's not really that complicated if you can, think about it in little steps. Going through this experience of building out this van, I do have the confidence now to, do it myself in the future. I have another project van for my dad, actually. You don't need to have like a lot of money to start van life. All you need is a van of any type and some basic tools and materials, and you're good to go. If you want power, and basically if you want like a fancy power system, it's going to cost you some money, but everything else is quite affordable. Another reason why I got into this van life was because it's not easy, and I like things that are not easy. It kind of tests your character, your mettle into difficult situations, because if everything in life is easy, you just never really appreciate what you have. And I think doing stuff like this, working out, studying, anything that requires a little bit of effort or a little bit of sweat, blood, sweat, and tears can be good. So my philosophy on life is to factor that in to your life, so then you can slowly become stronger. Like even during times of COVID, I'm not like, it affected me after it has affected me as well, but not to the point where I'm just like a former shell of myself. I'm sitting down, not doing anything. It's actually motivated me to do more, because it made me realize that you have one life to live on this earth, so you might as well do as much as you can. It doesn't mean that you go out all the time, but the things that you want to do in life, you can achieve. So you should try to do it. This day and age of like everything being digital and over the internet, it's sometimes you kind of forget that you should spend as much time face to face with people. COVID dependent, of course, and then the van life actually kind of accommodates that. So instead of me, being an inconvenience to some of my friends by staying at their place, I can just drive my van to their property, stay in the van, but still, enjoy the company.
And where can people follow your journey if they want to find out more?
Oh yeah, I guess you can follow me on my Instagram, and it's at @UconVan.
Thank you all for watching. Click the playlist on the right to watch more alternative dwelling documentaries and tour videos. Click the playlist on the left to watch a new series that I'm producing. It's called The Homestead, and it follows our journey from van life to homesteading and beyond towards sustainability and balance with nature.